Your anger is not the problem, it's a signal of a problem. And by using anger management techniques, you're treating the symptom, which can be helpful but usually temporarily. To solve your anger issue for real, you need to address the real root cause of it. Whether it is your nervous system exhaustion or dysregulation, some bigger situation in your life that you're not facing now for some reason, or some old hidden pain from your past that you're unconsciously trying to prevent from relieving. I had anger issue for years. First I was suppressing it, and then I had a long period of anger explosions when I was completely losing control, screaming and even breaking things. After finding the real underlying issue and addressing them, not only I reduced my anger reactions drastically, but I also learned to use my anger in a healthy ways in situations when it was really necessary. And in this video I will share with you all 3 layers of the anger problem and different approaches that you may need depending on your current situation. The first layer is the layer of your body and your nervous system. If your nervous system is exhausted or dysregulated, whether from your current lifestyle and stressors, or if it was like this all your life, probably after something that happens in your childhood, it means that it's very reactive and it's very difficult to control yourself. It can be happen temporary, like in the moment where you didn't have enough sleep, there is something stressful happening, maybe you're not eating well, so kind of lifestyle and some stressors can put you in the situation that you can't control well your emotions. You're stressed, you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're reacting. And in this specific case, while using anger management techniques, it can help you in the moment to prevent yourself from doing something that then you will regret, but you're already treating the symptom. What is need to be addressed here is the real stressor that make you exhausted and make your nervous system very reactive. It could be a lone situation in your life, and you should know it better than me. What can be in your lifestyle that can keep your body and your system constantly in stress. It could be even bigger. Maybe you're always like this since you remember yourself, not dependent only on what's happening outside, but you feel that you're tensed and reactive in general. In this case, you may have learned to be always prepared for danger, and your body never get a chance to fully relax and recover, and it means there is this balance of how much of your time you spend activated in kind of alert danger state and how much time you can spend in kind of recovery and relax. And by using only anger management technique, in this case, you can treat the moment of anger, but you don't treat the issue by itself. And what can actually help, if you look at your life situation in general and see there could be something that you really can't change for now, something that creates pressure, stress, or you can't get enough sleep, or some other things, and maybe you can't change it really. Of course, you need to look for ways to change it, but meanwhile, instead of just using different breathing practices and other exercises while you already have an anger, you need to create some routine to put certain help for your nervous system, for your stress, as a daily routine. So you need to choose certain moments of your day where you do practices to relax and to calm your nervous system before you get triggered. And that's how you will be solving. Of course, you need to look at a bigger picture and situation in your life, how you can kind of create more changes to relax and to calm your nervous system. This is a very big topic, but if you see that this is your issue, the way to approach it is not just solving anger reaction, but finding and looking for things that make you stressed and reducing them, and to add helpful techniques and practices as your daily routine. You will not get immediate result, but by implementing them regularly, you will slowly see that the anger issue is reducing. And I experienced it a lot also in my life, because I can see this difference very clearly. If I had stressful period, if I didn't sleep enough, and if I'm under a lot of pressure, I will react much stronger for some triggers that in more calm and resourceful state will not bother me that much. And that's how can you understand if the issue is your nervous system. If you see that the problem is not this. That is not your body, is not your nervous system, as much as maybe a psychological level of the issue, that you see that you explode for certain triggers very strongly when they're small. It can be that the trigger by itself is not such a big problem, but more like a reminder of something bigger that you for some reason is not facing. Whether it's your work or your relationship or living environment or something else, you may react for something said or did something again, and you kind of explode. Maybe reaction is disproportional. Very often it's some kind of dissatisfaction with some big situation in general, and for some reason you're not facing it. Whether it feels that there's not time to solve it, that you feel you can't do anything for the bigger issues, or you don't know how to solve it. But until the bigger issue will be addressed, it's very difficult to solve the anger issue in general, because each time trigger reminds you about it, you can explode, because the reaction is not by these specific words or action or something. The reaction of the much bigger dynamic in your life. In my case, I was noticing it when I decided to address some of my triggers, and I saw that it was happening in the relationship. I see that trigger is small, reaction is big, and I start asking myself what it is really about, what it's triggering me, like what inner issue or relationship issue. And I saw like it's triggering bigger dynamic, not the specific action, but the dynamic behind. Like maybe at some moment I feel that I'm not heard, or like I'm ignored in what I'm asking, yeah. And by looking there, I start understanding that when I'm exploding here on external issue, it's kind of reacting on a symptom of a problem. I'm not solving the issue, and sometimes you think that it can't be really addressed, but just by switching your attention to it and reminding yourself, okay, it's not about what happened here, it's about some bigger dynamic that I can't solve now. Admitting and redirecting the focus is already give you a bit more space and awareness in which you can start looking for a solution. For example, if it's something in a relationship, you start talking with your partner from calm state, not from emotional. And when you understood what it triggered, for you it will be much easier to explain to someone else. Or it could be your work situation, and you constantly get angry on someone there, but you may be dissatisfied with yourself and with your career in general, or how your life is. And you need to understand it's not this person and not this situation, it's big issue that I want my life to be different. I want to have a different job or different situation, or I want to be something different in my relationship or where I live. You need to see clearly what it is about, what is that something that you want to have and want to experience that you're not getting, and then you need to start addressing it. But it starts with this awareness of that this specific trigger is reminding me on some bigger dissatisfaction in my life, and you need to kind of to take back control of this, that what I can do. Even I don't know now, how can I find a solution, where I can look for different solutions, what can I do? And this is more mental work, beliefs work, looking for solution, for ideas, for certain actions, but redirecting and getting idea, I can solve it even if I don't see how to solve it now, will switch your attention from reactivity to getting back this energy of anger and redirecting it to solving the problem. And here, for example, you can notice what I noticed my situation when I saw a relationship trigger and I start digging deeper, like, okay, here I feel that I'm not heard, that I'm ignored, that what I'm saying is not matter, that maybe I feel powerless. I got in the contact with the pain that was under the anger, and while I start going to the contact with this pain, I slowly transition to the third layer of the problem that I will explain here. I start looking for deeper trigger. The deeper trigger that's not only happening here in my relationship now, but the deeper trigger of the very old past. I start asking myself, is this feeling familiar? Why it's so strong? Why this pain is so strong? Anger is always covering the pain. Anger, quick reaction, is your armor, your protection from not reliving something that you had to face in the past, very often in childhood. Sometimes we can get this trauma also in some adult relationships, but you need to kind of go back and search, where was this moment when I felt maybe powerless, that what I'm saying doesn't matter. And that's how I was finding the feeling. Like, I don't remember in my childhood and my grandmother, and like, yeah, I felt so powerless, I felt so controlled, I felt that I don't have any say and that I don't have any choices and that I'm constantly criticized, and like me, like as Liz, like I'm not existing, I don't have the right to do, to choose, to feel, to want. And all these moments were coming to me, and I started working and addressing these specific feelings. Sometimes they're very difficult to find, but if you allow yourself to look deeper, if you allow yourself to admit that under anger there is almost always some pain and some danger. When you were in a very vulnerable state, as a child or later, and you depended on someone, you felt as a victim of someone, and you couldn't do anything, you had just kind of adapt and suffer in silence or something, then the fear of getting back into this situation is so strong that anger will fire up straight away, like on any slightly trigger or reminder of this situation. Some words, some tone, some environment, some feeling, like slightly triggering thing can give you this explosion, because all your system, all your body, everything trying to protect you from relieving some pain again. And addressing this specific issue is what actually can help to solve these anger explosions, like probably almost forever, like okay, we can't say forever, but start reducing and changing it. Because sometimes even if you're solving current situation, changing job environment, relationship, living situation, you may encounter some new issue that will start triggering your anger again, because underlying issue was not solved. There is something inside that wants to be healed, that looking for attention, that looking for closure, and your strong emotions are very often is an invitation to look deeper. You can do some of this work by yourself, by bringing awareness, by asking yourself questions, by putting attention on it. Very often it can be extremely helpful to work with someone else who can guide you through this, who can support you through your difficult emotions, and maybe bringing your attention to certain things that sometimes you want to avoid and escape, and create you some healing space. And if you want to receive more of content that can give you some useful insight of the topic of your inner healing and your transformation, and can help you to return back to your wholeness and creating the life that you want, not just reacting on what's happening, you can always subscribe to my channel, because that's what I'm talking about here.